In a large, aging workshop, where the air hummed with the rhythm of machinery, a young woman named Myra threw her wrench down with a loud clang. Unbelievable, she muttered to herself. This wrench is ancient. This machine is a museum piece. And this grease, it never comes off. Her foreman, a tired but pragmatic man, walked over, coffee in hand. Problem, Myra, it's only your first hour. It's just, everything's harder than it needs to be, she said, exasperated. The tools are outdated. The process is inefficient. I could list 10 things to improve before lunch. The foreman sighed, not unkindly. I hear you. We all think it sometimes. But watch him. He nodded towards an older man, Elias, who was at his station, performing the same repetitive task, smoothing a welded seam on a metal drum with a manual grinder. Sparks flew in a graceful arc. His movements were economical, precise, almost peaceful. He finished one, marked a tiny notch on a tally sheet, and gently moved the drum onto a cart. He did not sigh or complain. Myra asked, how long has he been doing that exact job? 25 years. Since before you were born. And in all that time, the foreman said, his voice dropping, through broken fans in summer, freezing drafts in winter, through pay freezes and overtime rushes. Not one complaint. Not one. Myra scoffed. That's not resilience. That's silence. Or maybe he's just given up. You think so? The foreman replied. Go ask him for a number 12 spindle wrench. Just be observant. He then walked away, leaving Myra curious. She approached Elias's station and waited for a break in the noise. Excuse me, Elias. He switched off his grinder, and the sudden quiet was startling. He turned and smiled, warm lines crinkling around his eyes. Good morning. You must be Myra. How can I help? I was told to ask for a number 12 spindle wrench, she said. Of course, Elias replied. It's not in the main toolbox. They often walk off. I keep one here. He walked to a shadowed corner where an old steel toolbox sat, pristine. He opened it. The tools inside were immaculate, organized not just by size, but by how often he used them. As he got the wrench, Myra's eyes were drawn to a faded photograph taped inside the lid. It showed a small, simple house with a vegetable garden. Next to it was a handwritten list titled Reasons. That's a nice house, Myra said, pointing hesitantly. Yours. Elias's smile deepened with pride. Yes. Every bolt I turned, every seam I ground, bought a brick, a plank, a roof tile. My children grew up there. They ate vegetables from that garden. They studied by windows I paid for. And the list, reasons. Elias ran a finger gently down the paper. Myra could just make out a few lines. Maria's school books, Pablo's medicine, the new stove for mother, Lena's wedding dress. At the very bottom, it simply said, this life, it is enough. He looked at her and said, my father worked in a quarry. He came home too tired to speak, his lungs full of stone dust. He told me, a job is not what you do. It is what you provide. It is the distance between your effort and someone else's happiness. When the work is hard, I remember the distance is short. But the broken tools, the heat, the long hours, Myra asked, doesn't it ever make you angry? Elias picked up his worn gloves. Anger is a leak in your own reservoir. I choose to fix the machine, not curse it. This grinder, its motor once failed. I learned to rewind it. The heat, I brought a small fan. The hours, they are just the measure of my contribution. He saw her frustration and continued. You see a rusty bolt? I see a family that will use this plow to grow food. You see an old wrench. I see a tool that has built 100 homes. Gratitude is not about ignoring what's broken. It's about honoring what is built. Just then, the shift whistle blew. Elias neatly put his tools away, switched off his power, and made a final mark on his tally sheet. What does the tally mean? Myra asked. It is not for the foreman. It is for me, Elias explained. Every mark is a promise kept. To my family, to my own hands, to this place that gives me purpose. A complaint is just a promise you've decided not to keep. He put on his jacket. The work will always be here tomorrow, and so will I. It is an honor to work beside you. Myra, good night. As Elias left with a steady step, Myra stood alone in the quieting workshop. She looked at her station, at the wrench she had thrown down. She walked over, picked it up, and carefully wiped the grease off. She looked at the machine she was fixing, but this time she saw its purpose. She thought to herself, he wasn't silent. He was speaking a different language, one of brick and bread and promises. Not the noise of complaint, but the quiet sound of building something. Day by day, mark by mark, she turned back to her work, took a deep breath, and picked up the wrench again. She fitted to the bolt. This time, her turn was steady, determined. One mark, she whispered, as the bolt seated perfectly with a distinct click. And then there was only the gentle hum of the evening silence. Thanks for watching. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that inspires. See you next time.